Hey guys, and welcome back to Brexit, Brexit England, Northern Ireland, and Eastern Europe. And do you remember in Brexit England when we said to you, you did not know what you was voting for, and you said to us, don't call us stupid, don't patronise us. We know exactly what we was voting for. Did you vote for this? Is this what you voted for? Because it's a simple enough question. Because all of a sudden, yeah, I can't find any Brexiters, right, who will still say that to me. Well, we know what we voted for because I don't believe that you people knew exactly what you voted for. Because if you voted for this, then you're a damn idiot. I believe that you voted hoping, praying, even though we told you Brexit is going to go really catastrophic for this country. And now we're at the stage, right, where Liz Truss, pencil neck tin Lizzie Truss herself, has decided that she, right, will revoke the Brexit deal, right, if the EU don't play ball with her. I mean, most of this revolves around Ireland, of course. And what did we tell them in the first place? We said to them, listen, you know what? Yeah, the Ireland situation, right, is a main reason why Brexit can't happen because of the situation in Ireland. But they still went and they tinkered and they tinkered and they tinkered. And now we're at a stage where we have coming, inflation, the highest inflation coming. And if pencil neck tin Lizzie Truss does what she said she's going to do, this would mean that we enter a trade war with the EU. Though what kind of trade war, I don't know, because it's not like England produces anything. Right? We don't really produce anything over here to start having trade wars with different countries. So, people, we do a lot of trade with people because we trade them cash for their goods. That's the trade. So I don't know what kind of trade war we would be expecting to have, but that is the position that this country is in. And if Liz Truss was to do that, it would certainly be curtains for Britain, because as you know, we've dragged the Welsh and the Scottish in with us, right? Northern Ireland. There's one side of Northern Ireland. There's just a complete basket case, right? And if they don't get their act together really soon, right, they're going to lose. Because there could be an election in Ireland, and if that happens, right, the DUP could find themselves in third place with absolutely no power in Stormont. So they need to get their act together, right? But the only people to blame for the DUP's predicament is themselves. They've got no one else to blame but themselves, right? They was the people who stupidly signed up, right, with Theresa May, right, when they was, how much was it they was given? 3 billion or something like that. She gave them when she said there's no magic money tree, right, for the minions in the country. There's no magic money tree, none. But to save her job, she pulled something like 3 billion out of her back pocket, right? After telling people there's no magic money tree, right? So that just shows you, right, to save one person's job, she's prepared to pay out 3 billion to save just her one person's job, right? But the rest of the people in the country, there's no money for you, nothing, and that is the Great Britain that we live in. And this is By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages sent me, and a special thanks here to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all your messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all your messages for definite. It seems that yesterday the P&O workers went up to the headquarters of P&O, right, and staged a protest, a sit-in. Went up there and they were sitting in their offices and saying, you know what, till you give us back our jobs here, we are not moving. We're not going anywhere till you give us back our jobs. Right? Give us back our jobs. Go on. We got jobs to do. Give us the job. Go on, give us the job. Go on. Give us the job. Give us the job. No job. No. They got the police to escort them out of the building. I don't even know what these people was playing. What these people was thinking. I think so. P&O, right? In fairness to P&O, they've paid all these workers out. So I don't even know what they're protesting about now. right? Because you know they're in a situation where the government, right, had sold them out as well. P&O had sold them out. Right, so I don't even know why these people are wasting their time. What they should be doing, yeah, is they should be going out and looking for new jobs, right? Instead of wasting their time, right, trying to get P&O to change their mind, because P&O, right, is never going to take them back. It's like, well, we've got workers now. We've got two ships now that are sailing, between Dover and Calais. So we're salted. So can't you go and try somebody else for a job? Right? These people, seriously, these people are reaching. They're reaching for some serious shit. And yesterday we had the Queen's speech, and was hosted by Prince Charles, who made the speech. And it's the first time in 59 years, yeah, that the Queen hasn't made the speech herself. But do you know, right? Before the last time a monarch, right? Because obviously Prince Charles he's not a monarch yet. He's a monarch in waiting, right? But the last time a non-monarch actually done that was something like 218 years ago. That the last time someone who was not right, this country's got so much history, and then I don't know if you saw the pictures in the paper today with Prince Charles looking at the way how he's looking at the crown, right? But he's looking at a crown because he knows to himself, that crown, yeah, is worth about £3 billion. So I'm sure the cost of living crisis would be that crown would be like, what cost of living crisis are you talking about? Right? It's just like, hold one of these little diamonds off there, yeah, and just like sort everything out. Right? £3 billion the crown is worth. Imagine that. You see, that shit must be heavy. But it's got so much diamonds on it. I think it's got over 200. It's got 200 and something diamonds on it, and it's got loads of other like proper jewels on it, big jewels on it. So, but then when you looked at the money, right? Because all those people down there, remember, what you got to look at, yeah, is every single person that you saw down there yesterday, right? Not one of them is going through the cost of living crisis, and there was a lot of them there. Right, but not one of them. Because remember, every MP's there, right? So then you're going to have all of the MPs' assistants, and there's assistant after assistant, and there's like loads of police. There's so much people there. You know what I mean? Even the sergeant at arms, who's black, right, would have like his assistant there, and so there's going to be there's, I don't know, probably 2,000 or 3,000 people there. Easily, probably even more than that, right? But none of those people, right, are going through the cost of living crisis. Now, I didn't see outside, so whether or not there was people out there waving their little flags, but there could have well been people out there doing that, right? But those people out there that would be waving their little flags, right? Those people would have been going for a cost of living crisis. Right, but none of those people that was in there watching all that ceremony, all of that money, right? None of them is going through none of this cost of living crisis. They're all just like, well, what cost of living crisis? Oh, we heard there might be a bit of problems, because most of them, yeah, probably don't even know how much their gas and electric bill is anyway. It's just direct debit, and they say, oh, 1 week it was, 1 month we was paying like 1,000, and the next thing was 3,000. Oh well, so things come see, come saw. That's how those guys look at that shit. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so Prince Charles was like, I think it really suited him actually. It really suited his voice and everything. Do you know what I mean? But you could just tell that Prince Charles was just like, seriously, do I have to read this fucking bullshit out? Right? I've heard, because he probably heard, right, that there's a cost of living crisis for these people, and what is this bullshit you're talking about here? None of this is related to anything that's going on in the country at the moment. Right? None of it's related to anything. I mean, they didn't even mention the cost of living crisis that people are going through. So so I could imagine, and you see Charles, he didn't look like I know he always looks like he's quite solemn, right? But, right, he looked like, as to say, I can't believe, right, this bullshit here that you've got me reading out, right? I would have wished he just stood up and said, I'd just gone against protocol and said, listen, you know something, yeah? I know that mummy's watching, yeah, and but come on, what is this? What is this? Where's the help? Where's the help for people? Right? The leveling up. You're going to be able to vote on people's extensions. What? Yeah, you can vote. You can vote on someone's extension, and that is a way of leveling up. So you can just say, well, they want an extension. No, right? We want you to stay the same as us. We want the back of your house, right, to be the same as ours. So no, you can't have an extension. Right? Say unless maybe you perhaps like fling me a few quid so I can have an extension built on my house. Right? This is the bullshit. This is the bullshit these people are coming up with and say, don't you realise, yeah, that when you're in a financial crisis, right? If you was in a financial crisis, right, and the bank come over to you and said to you, oh, you're in a real financial whoops, we've heard, and it's really terrible. So we've bought you a tray of sticky buns. You're like, what the fuck am I going to do with sticky buns? Right? I'm £10,000 in the fucking hole. Sticky buns. So, what's going to happen next? The baker comes over to you now and says to you, listen, I heard you're in a really bad place at the moment. And then, we see you got some sticky buns. Oh, how about if we give you £10,000? Would that help? Yes, it would. This is the country we're living in. We're living in a country where these politicians don't understand. Well, of course they do understand, but the problem is they've never ever had a finance crisis themselves. Remember, most of them have come from money. They've all come from money, and the ones who haven't, they've made a lot of money, so they probably can't remember what it felt like to have no money. Right, because that does happen. Believe me, that does happen. After a while, these guys get so rich and they're like, oh, can't remember what it's like to have no money, to have that only a score in my pocket. Can't remember what that was like. Right, so nothing mentioned, right, about the levelling up agenda, and there's a reason for that though, right? It's because the Tories, especially Boris Johnson, Boris Johnson is out of ideas, right? He's got no ideas, right, on anything, especially to get people out of the financial crisis that they're in. Boris Johnson hasn't got any ideas for that. Boris Johnson's got big ideas for for building like bridges from London to Paris. Those are the ideas Boris Johnson can come up with, but to get people out of the economic crisis that they're in, right? Boris Johnson has no ideas because in October these bills are just about to go up again. So we're gonna hit the summer now where people are not going to be using their gas, right? So the gas bills are going to be pretty low, right, throughout the summer. But then come October now, where the bills go up again and everyone's going to be needing to use their gas again, the bills are going to go up, and they reckon that we could have like a standard price of like up to £3,000. Which is going to be which there's going to be so much people that's going to slaughter, and interest rates. The Bank of England's had to put up interest rates as well. So at the moment, it's only like probably just under £100 maybe that your mortgage would have gone up, but on a monthly basis, right? But so we were talking about £50-60 really, but some people could be about £100, but right. That could get a lot worse if we're going like 10% and all that could get a lot worse, right? So people are going to be really just in real dire straits. As the whole country's in dire straits at the moment. But these guys, right? Remember the guys who you've got trying to go through it with you, right? They're just like, what? They're not feeling it. Yes, I was listening to the radio yesterday, right? And a guy come on the radio and he said, "Oh, I'm not going to vote for Keir Starmer." Right? He said, he said, "I won't vote for Boris Johnson." He said, "I don't like Starmer because Starmer was in Jeremy Corbyn's cabinet." So I thought, "Oh, here we go." So he's like, well, Jeremy Corbyn, like, he supported terrorists and this and that, and I was like, well, seriously. On the day where Sinn Féin has become the biggest party in Ireland, you're really going to go there. I think what you've got to understand, right, is Jeremy Corbyn supported self-determination. Right? There's a difference between, you know, supporting self-determination and actually supporting and actually, you know, a full-fledged supporter of the IRA. You support the Irish people's right, right, to determine their own future. That's what you're supporting, right? Now I can't see, right, and so much of people in England supported that. Right, but it's always thrown at Jeremy. It's always thrown at Jeremy Corbyn. You know, the same as oh, you know, well, he supports Hamas and you know, he supports Hamas, and I think, well, you know, Hamas again, right? These people are freedom fighters. That's what they are, right? You know, in the same way that Thatcher branded Nelson Mandela a terrorist, right? Because that's what she done. She branded him a terrorist, right? Even though, right, at that time, right, you had white people murdering black people in South Africa at the highest rate they possibly could, right? But she chose to call Nelson Mandela a terrorist. You see, so one person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter. But most of the time, you'll find that these people are freedom fighters, especially when they're fighting in their own land against people who have come to their land. Right, so you see, you know, and then you know, if you look at the situation, right, with Jeremy Corbyn, and you say, well, Corbyn said, you know, we need to take back all of our utilities. What are we in problems with at the moment? Why do you think our gas services they can just whack on 54% like that, right? Because, right, it's owned by all these other companies, right? And companies that are from France and from Germany and from Spain and all these other places, right? Jeremy Corbyn said, no, we need to take all these things back. We need to take back all of our train lines, right? All of that money, right, that we pay, right? We pay to ride around on the trains in this country, right? And they take the money, right, and it's gifted, right, to these private businesses. You know, the state is often running, right, our trains or our utility services, but it's just not our state. Right, you know, everybody else. I don't know any other country that is run in this way, that in the way that this country is run. Right, and when they, you know, and that's why they say, oh well, Jeremy Corbyn is hard left, and say hard left. Hard left, right, means that, oh, you want to run all the utilities in your country. You don't think that the utilities in your country should be going into private hands, right? Imagine, right, that I believe, right, that the country should look after the people and pay the people, right? The people shouldn't be paying for the country. We pay for this country. Right, all of that pomp and pageantry that you saw yesterday, we pay for all of that. All of that is paid for by us. Right, and what do we get out of it? We get nothing out of it. Right, you know, all we get out of it is high energy costs. The food costs. You know, the food costs hit. You know, the prices hit us the highest. If you've noticed, all the economic hits have hit us the hardest. Right. Whatever it is throughout the world, it's hit us the hardest. And that's because this country is the world's worst run country. There's not a country run worse than this, because I don't know any other country that have sold off all of their assets in their country. I mean, these guys want to sell off Channel 4. It's one of the last things that we actually own. And they want to sell that, and they want to sell that off as well. Right, you know, every single thing in this country has been sold off, and the people of this country are just like, no, I think that's a really good idea. Just ridiculously stupid. Right, and when you see all the pomp and the pageantry yesterday, and you see how far out of touch, right, the people who are in charge really are in this country. They are so far out of touch. I mean, where do you think? Where can you look at and say, well, you know what, us and them, yeah, here, we're all good here. There's nowhere. There's absolutely nowhere, right? And you know, to have a Queen's speech, right, for the country to be going through the worst crisis it's ever been through, right, with the worst Prime Minister the country's ever been through, to have this type of crisis, right, and in the Queen's speech, nothing is said about it. that just shows you that Boris Johnson, he's completely out of ideas. The man does not have a clue. He knows not where to go at all. Right? And you still got people who will say, "Oh well, we had the choice of between Boris Johnson and Jeremy Corbyn, and so we went for." Yeah, you went for Boris Johnson, and you chose the worst prime minister this country could possibly have. Right? Imagine, I mean, that if you was going through the financial crisis with Jeremy Corbyn, right, he would be looking out for the people. I mean, first of all, he wouldn't have taken £37 billion and handed it out to his friends and donors. I mean, that wouldn't have happened, right, in the first place. And the Tories would, could you imagine the stories if he'd done that? Could you imagine if Diane Abbott, right, was the person, right, whose house got raided, like Lady Moan's house got raided? Could you imagine if that was Diane Abbott whose house got raided? What they'd be saying. She'd be crucified all over the press. Lady Moan's not even been in the press about this. Right? Diane Abbott, right, is a working class politician. Right? And she would get crucified. Lady Moan is hoity-toity. Right? And the newspapers are like, no, we haven't even heard about the story, Duff. Know nothing about it at all. If we knew about the story, it would be on the front pages, but we know nothing about it. See? In the same way, right, that Amnesty International could brand Israel, right, as, committing an apartheid. But where is it it's not there at all. It's nowhere to be seen. Right? Because the people, the people who are running, right, this world, right, and this country, right, that all those things are not. Those things are not. No, they're not in their interest. Right? It's not. It's in their interest, right? For for someone like Diane Abbott, if it was Diane Abbott, it would be in their interest. Oh, get that and get that there. In their interest there, right? But you have to wonder, yeah, why the newspapers, right, aren't blazing that shit all over the place, right? How comes, right, the PPE scandal, right? Because imagine if that PPE scandal was around Labour, what would this country, right? Labour would sink under a sea of stories every single day. Every single day. Look at Beargate with Keir Starmer, right? One simple story, right? And the Daily Mail, the last time I saw it, it was like day 10, right, of Beargate, right? Front pages, right? Over a man who's had nigh on 20 parties, right? Front page, but Keir Starmer gets front pages, bam, straight, right? So you see, the way how they're running, they're not running this country, right, for the people of this country. They're running this country for a very small few people. Very, very small few people in this country. But anyway, I wanted to just speak about the Queen's speech, because I just thought it was just a load of complete and utter bollocks. Right? Just a load of absolute nonsense. And it just shows you, right, that the government is so far out of touch, right? Especially the government run by Boris Johnson, right? But I'm quite sure, right, that all you people who voted for Boris Johnson, you racist idiots, I'm quite sure you all knew exactly what you was voting for: to drive Great Britain, right, into the Channel. This is By Any Means Necessary. I'm the MC John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.